late game execution.
No, ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, I forgot to talk about this game. Actually, I forgot to talk about game one of this Detroit Pistons New York Knicks matchup. I didn't have the time to talk about game one. I was so busy this past weekend with family and the weddings and all this stuff. I ain't had no time to even do videos. Then again, I did manage to make time for that. Of course, I was gonna make time for the Lakers. The Lakers, Timberwolves. I knew I had to make that one because I knew you guys were gonna love that one. And hopefully later, not later today. Is it later today? Yeah, later today, we get rewarded for more funniness if the Lakers lose. But anyways, we all know this is Pistons' first time in the playoffs since, what was it, the 2018-19 season when they got swept by my Bucks. Before that, they got swept by the LeBron James, not Kawhi. I always do that. Kyrie Irving led Cleveland Cavaliers in 2016. And before that, the last time it was playoffs, I think it was the 08-09 season when they got ran off the court by the Cleveland Cavaliers once again. So, game two, Pistons said, nope, we ain't losing this. We ain't losing game two. We should have won game one, but we're going to win game two. And that's when they went out to go do. For much of the fourth quarter between the Detroit Pistons and New York Knicks on Monday night, it looked as if things might be headed towards a slow motion repeat of what happened in Saturday's game one. Like they did Saturday, Pistons carried an 8-point advantage heading into the final period at Madison Square. And just like in game one, the young Pistons squad made miscues that allowed the Knicks to stage a late comeback, even tying the contest at 94 with a little over a minute left. But the similarities ended there. Instead of letting the Knicks rest the momentum, as they did with a 21-0 run in the fourth quarter, on Saturday, Detroit hung tough. Dennis Schroeder hit a go-ahead triple with 55 seconds remaining, hoping to lift the Pistons to a 194 victory in Game 2, allowing them to snap their NBA playoff record game skid 15 games, dating back to May 2008. And for reference, that was the last win that the Pistons had was against the Eastern Conference Finals against the Boston Celtics. Same Boston Celtics went on to the finals to beat Kobe Bryant and the Lakers in a 6-game series. That was the last time. Rip Hamilton, not even Ben Wallace, I don't think was on the team. It might have been Rasheed Wallace. Rip Hamilton was on that team. I don't think Chauncey Billups was on there yet. I think he was gone already. He might have been gone. It might have been the next year. He might have been on that team. He left the next year and went to Denver. But I know Ben Wallace wasn't on that team because I think he ended up leaving the year before that. That's who was on that team, if I can remember. So that was the team who won the last time in the playoffs for Detroit Pistons. Been almost 15 years. She whiz. No, not 15 years. 16 years now. 17 years almost now. Forgot what year it was. We found a way to maintain our poise and collect ourselves in a really similar situation. Pistons star Cade Cunningham, who finished with 33 and 12 rebounds. The series now heads to Detroit, which hasn't hosted a playoff game since 2019, when they got wiped off the court by my Milwaukee Bucks. Tied on one game apiece in the best of 7 series. Detroit had the longest drought in NBA history. And I think before that was the team they face right now, the New York Knicks, who snapped into 2012. I think that team might have had Carmelo Anthony and J.R. Smith. And before that was the Hornets at 12 and Grizzlies at 12. Pistons led it by many as 15 points Monday, even as they shot poorly from the perimeter. Detroit looked like the harder playing team, featuring stout physical defense and forcing the Knicks into uncomfortably stagnant offensive possessions. Detroit can go out there and defend when they want. New York struggling mightily on the glass and to get to the line early. Pistons owned a 14-2 advantage in the first half, prompting the Knicks and the rowdy fans of the Garden to vent after nearly every whistle. I've heard Tom Thibodeau was not happy with the calls. He said Cade Cunningham was getting more calls than Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson, I think, now is a two-time All-Star. Compared to Cade Cunningham, I think he is an All-Star from this year. So he's not happy about that. Detroit went to the line 13, I think they went to the line 34 to 19 times. Which is weird because it's probably changed since then. But the last time I looked up who leads in free throw at the attempts was the Lakers, of course. They do lead that as a couple of years ago. But the lead that the Lakers had over the rest of the league is crazy. But who was in second place was the Knicks. I'm not buying it. But I think they're trying to sway this series to eke out this series to get the most money out of it. So they probably did call a lot of calls for the Pistons' way. Thibodeau said there's a huge conspiracy in free throws. Huge. I don't understand how on one side there are direct line drives for contact that just aren't being called. He said, look, I really don't give a crap how they call the game as long as they're consistent on both sides. But if Cade Cunningham is driving and there's a marginal contact that gets into the line, then Jalen Brunson should be getting to the line too. I don't know about that because you look at the box score, Cade Cunningham went into the line 12 times. Brunson was at the line 11 times. So there's not really much of a difference here. Maybe the way they call them. Bronson's 14.4 quarter and the Pistons going on the ice cold 1 for 14 through the second half. The Knicks managed to tie the game on a Josh Hart dunk that had the Garden rocking with over a minute to go. But Bronson and Hart, who starred together as teammates at Villanova, had costly communication on a defensive switch that allowed Schroeder to shoot that three. That was just a second three for Detroit in the half. Bronson did have 37 points and 7 assists. Pressure is now squarely on the Knicks, who find themselves behind the four quarters of both games 1 and 2 against a team they lost to 3 times during the regular season. Karl Anthony Towns did have 24 points and 13 rebounds. Wait, that's during the season. No, he averaged 24 points and 13 rebounds during the season, but into last night's game, he had 10 points and 6 rebounds. Didn't score in the second half. Didn't even attempt a shot in the fourth quarter. Playing all 12 minutes. That's a recipe for disaster. That's a complete disaster right there on Karl Anthony Towns' part. And that's kind of some of the problems he had when he was playing for the Timberwolves. Sometimes he would just disappear. And you can't disappear in the playoffs. You can disappear in the regular season, but you can't disappear in the playoffs. Tobias Harris had 15 points. Asir Thompson had 5 points. Tim Hardaway, nothing in 21 minutes. Jalen Duran had 12 points in 37 minutes. And Cade Cunningham, sheesh, 30, damn. Box scores don't tell everything, though. Schroeder had 20 off the bench. And, yeah, Pistons did not shoot well from 3. 22% from 3. 44% from the field altogether. As for the Knicks, all 5 starters in double figures. Mikal Bridges at 19. Anunoby had 10. Josh Hart had 10. 8 points for McBride. Nothing from Robinson. Nothing from... They ain't really played. They played a short rotation. But that's Thibodeau anyway. Thibodeau is always playing a short rotation. That's one of the problems why everybody freaking for the Knicks goes haywire towards the end of, they get past the first round. That's why they get tired so fast and get hurt. He run the shortest rotation. Marcus Robinson had 20 minutes. Campaign had 4 minutes. McBride had 13 minutes. Shaman had 5 minutes. And if you look at the minutes of the starters, Kel Bridges had 38. Anunoby played for 42. Karl Anthony Towns played for 33. Brunson played for 44. Josh Hart played for 40. See, that's just what happens to Thibodeau. And Thibodeau is the reason why Derrick Rose didn't have the career he had. He should have had. Derrick Rose should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer and should have been the staple of the Chicago Bulls. But Thibodeau wanted to play him in the blowout against the Philadelphia 76ers 15 years ago. Is it 15 years ago now? What year was that? 2012? 13 years ago, excuse me. 13 years ago. That one made it 2010. See, my mind's still not in 2025. But 13 years ago, he ran Derrick Rose to the ground, tore his ACL, and the man was never the same after that. That's not a recipe for winning. If you're gonna run with 4 people coming off the bench, you gotta have them out there a little bit longer. You running your guys to the ground. And that's what happened last year. He ran Jalen Brunson to the ground. But anyways, shout out to Detroit Pistons. There's a revival going on with the Detroit teams. Well, at least with the Pistons and the Lions. But shout out to them. I think they're going to win this series. Yeah, I said it. Knicks are too inconsistent. And they're going to get ran to the ground. And Pistons, not I like the Pistons don't have experience on this team. Yes, they're a young team. This is Cade Cunningham's first time in the playoffs. But they got Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Dennis Schroeder. Tim Hardaway Jr. was just in the NBA Finals last year. Now, he did not play in the NBA Finals. I think he's hurt. But the man's been around for a long time. A lot of runs with the Dallas Mavericks. Tobias Harris has a lot of experience playing with the Philadelphia 76ers and Los Angeles Clippers. I think these are the 2 teams he went to the playoffs with. So he got experience. Schroeder has definitely experience playing with those, the Lakers teams and some of the other teams. I think Schroeder has been on 20 teams this season alone. I think he started with the Nets. Was it like the Nets? He got traded from the Nets to Golden State or something like that. Then Golden State to Detroit. I lost count. But anyway, shout out to the Detroit Pistons for finally breaking that 15-game losing streak, playoff losing streak.